wanted to know what you've been up to as a rum ambassador.
Yeah.
You know, you represent rum all around the world.
Yeah.
We're here in our little bubble, but
Mm.
we constantly watching live conferences on Zoom and stuff that you've been having. I think one of the coolest ones I saw was with you, Luca, Joy from Appleton, talking about the Hearts collection.
Oh, when we're doing the Hearts collection,
Yeah, that was a real cool one.
I really enjoyed it because Joy and Luca are two of my biggest idols when it comes to rums. So working with those two, having the honor to work with those two and talk about the collaboration that they've done. As you know, Appleton, as a Jamaican, Appleton is flowing from my blood. So to work with the legendary Joy and the legendary Luca, and they actually got Campari to say, yeah, no problem, let's do it. So for Campari to say, yeah, we see where rum is going, and for them to just do something that no one else has ever done was just absolutely amazing. So to be a part of that was just brilliant. And I think we did about 4 sessions with various different distributors and influencers and journalists, and each session was just as good as each other. And I got to taste and sample the unique rums all the time. That was just absolutely amazing.
We're patiently waiting to get our.
I heard that Jamaica only has 100 bottles. That's it. So I don't know how much Cayman's gonna get, because Cayman might get 10. 10 of each.
Our customers, I've been telling our customers about it, and they're very interested because it's such a rare offering coming out of Appleton. Yeah.
It's a piece of history, and when Appleton do projects like this, when you understand rums and history, historical, it's stuff that will never be recreated again. There'll be other products similar, but of that particular bottle, that particular liquid inside there won't be recreated. I mean, for the first time, when Joy and Appleton put that together, it was a single mark. And then it was a couple of barrels of that single malt put together. Normally, that rum that's in that bottle will be part of other rums that Appleton make. So you're getting a component of, for example, the Appleton 21 in a bottle, but that's been aged for a minimum of 25, 26 years, 25, 26, and I think it was 20, I think it's 27, 28 of the oldest one. 26 years. So it's a piece of history. So it's understandable why people would want to get a bottle of that. And because Luca is a rum man, he did the small 20 CL bottles. So you get a small bottle to drink and sample and taste, and one to keep as part of your collection. So you can get 70s, or you can get the 20s.
Okay.
Well. So
from what you understand, what I got from watching you guys, a certain allotment will go to Jamaica.
Yes.
And then from there, we would get some here in Cayman.
I'm assuming that will happen if you're getting your Appleton rums from Jamaica. In fact, last time I was in Cayman in January. Was it January? Yeah, January last time I was in Jamaica. I met a couple of the Appleton reps that had come over just doing some research on some of the rum events there. We wanted to do some work together. I definitely want to do some work in Cayman with rums. So that was all part of the cookout, the Cayman cookout. So they came over there. So I'm assuming that there's a good connection with Appleton and Cayman's, actually Jamaica, Cayman family. As well.
One of the biggest brands there.
That's actually, unfortunate for you, that your allocation might come from that allocation, which doesn't seem much when you're talking about the grand scheme of things. But of each product that they had, there was 3,000 of each. So basically 9,000 bottles in total, 3,000 of the 94, the 95, and the 99. And then they haven't worked out how much of the 200s they're going to make, but I'm assuming it'll be about of similar. So Italy has a certain amount, Czech Republic has a small amount, Canada gets a small amount, UK gets a small amount. It's only 9,000 bottles for the whole world.
We're waiting, man. We hope we get at least 3 bottles.
At least 3 bottles.
But definitely, let's talk about Equiano. We saw the brand. We recently got a distribution license.
Oh, brilliant.
We're very small. We have a retail store. Very rum centric. We have the 4 Square rums. We have Worthy Park. We're trying to get some other rums. We have, Appleton, of course. We have Mount Gay.
Yes.
some of our top sellers. And then we came across your brand, and we were like, it's just, we had to have it. We did our research online, and then we started, we reached out to you.
Yeah. Thank you.
And you said that it was, let's make it happen.
Yeah.
To introduce Equiano to the Cayman Islands. For us, it's a great honor to represent this brand here and to promote this brand down here. So we were just going to ask you a few questions about,
Sure.
Like for me, where, at night I'm thinking about, I'm like, why, how did he figure out to have get rum from Mauritius and then ship it down to Barbados and blend it with the Four Square rums, and so where did the idea come from, or how did it start?
Well, I mean, the idea came about of being a global ambassador. When very fortunate that I get to try and sample and work with so many distilleries around the world that are making some of the best liquids in the world, let alone rum. So when my business partners approached me with an idea for a concept for a rum brand, I said, well, you know what? In my years of experience, that concept may not work, but there is elements of it that could work. And it was timing. It was time to actually put my name to a brand, actually create a brand, something that will be a legacy, something that I can look back and say, wow, you know what? I'm so proud to be proud of that. Something that maybe the kids can grow up and say, oh man, daddy created that. Friends and fellow rum drinkers in the future will be sipping and drinking that particular brand. So that was the general idea of putting the rum together. But then it's all about the mechanics, the story, the liquid, authenticity, all the things that I like to promote and love about the rum category. This rum had to say all of those things. And also not compromise my position as an ambassador for the category. Because although I'm not officially paid by any particular rum company, all of these rum companies hire me to talk about their rums and the category of rum. So also I wanted to try and create a brand that was also elevating the category of rum, and still say to everyone else, if you're not drinking us, drink an Appleton, drink a Malgate, drink a Four Square, drink an English Harbour if you're in Antigua, drink a Chairman's Reserve if you're in St. Lucia. So I want to be talking about all of these rums as well, because they are great liquids. So being a Jamaican, but also an African Caribbean here in the UK, we wanted to try to create a rum that really displayed part of the heritage. Now, Africa, as you know, is the epicenter of the world for me. So all creation came from. But if we're talking about rum, the epicenter of rum is the Caribbean, and Barbados is the place where rum got its name. So, and unfortunately, I have a good friend, a colleague, and also a shareholder in Equiano, Richard Seal, who's making some of the best liquids in the world. So I said to Richard, listen, I want to create a brand. I'd love you to be involved with it. And my idea is to create an African Caribbean rum and getting rums from Africa. Yeah. And I know there was one particular rum brand that he enjoyed, he liked. We were trying in Hong Kong, funny enough. That's from the African continent, and that was rums from Mauritius. So he said, yeah, okay, fine. Because I said, I want to get rums from New Grove. Bring some of those rums out here for you to blend and create. So Richard gave the okay for that. So it was then getting the right rums, getting the samples from Mauritius, mixing them with some Four Square rums at home in my kitchen, tasting that, and basically coming out of a profile that I was like, wow, you know what? I could sip that, I could drink that, I could mix that, and still feel nice. I could do it with friends.
And once you drink it, you don't forget it. It's such a unique flavor going on. You're not going to forget Equiano's flavor profile. It's so unique. I don't know. I love it.
It has the easy drinking, and Richard described it really perfect for me as well. When a lot of people, some people saying, I really get that Four Square signature inside there. And Richard said the Four Square signature is there, but it's the extra component is that French oak or ex-cognac barrel rum from Mauritius that's blended in there. It takes it to that slightly different dimension. We're not saying it's better than any other Four Square. We're not saying it's better than any other Mauritian rum, but it's just not different. But more importantly, I'm always an advocate of people having sessions. I suppose that's the Caribbean inside us. It's like, you have a rum, bottle must finish before we leave. So it has to be a session rum. Because Richard is known at the moment for making some great, what we call the exceptional casts, which I assume you have some of them there. And some of those rum they're the rums you just sip and you savor and you nurture.
You just need a little tipple of that.
Yeah,
And you
little
just
tipple of
enjoy the flavors, incredible flavors coming
Correct.
out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them are cast shrimp, and some of them are just under cast shrimp, like 56 up to 63% ABV. And that's a different animal. That's one you just sit down and enjoy. If you're into cigars, you have a smoke of your cigar, and you take your time with that. In Jamaica, would say you nurse that. But I wanted to create a rum that you have to doctor. A doctor, as in like, finish it. A session rum. As such. And there's a few rums that I see as session rums. I see like Appleton 12 is a session rum. Dawley's 12, Dawley's XO, session rums. You and a couple of friends, you sit down with that bottle and then you finish that either with coconut water, you drink it with ice, you drink it with neat, you drink it with your favorite mixer. And that's what we used to do back in the days where we were around the table and having a laugh and liming with rum. So Equiano had to be a premium version of a session rum and bringing new, and more importantly, bringing a new audience to rums. Because it's not only made for rum lovers, it's also made for people that drink whiskey and drink brandies and aged spirits. And that's another reason why the palate and the profile had to be one that was easily accepted onto your palate, into your nose, into the aromas. So a lot of combination, a lot of things were being thought about when we were trying to come up with a blend and the concept of what Equiano was. So we've gone with 43% alcohol by volume, just to give that little bit of extra bite, instead of doing like in Europe, a lot of premium rums are sold as 40. Of course, we didn't want to go to the cast shrimp, but we will be doing some high-end stuff, because the Equiano you have there will be our entry level for our gold style. So we're only going up just for the gold, for what we see, the age stuff. So next ones will be either an age plain, or maybe a vintage. We're using some vintage four squares and some vintage greys rums from Mauritius. So in answer to the question, we wanted to create a drink, a rum that people would say was a drinking rum. Can it be sipped? Yes. Can it be mixed in a cocktail? Yes. Can I sip it with my favorite mixer? Yes. It's a drinking rum, and it had to have all those components and flavors of the two islands.
Yes, a beautiful rum. So with our customers, we definitely, we let them know this is batch number one. I tell them you need one to. I have to admit, I tell them they need one for drinking and one for the collection.
Correct.
Because it's batch number one. But it was good to hear that, because we also want to let them know we want to represent Equiano in the Cayman Islands. Going forward, we would feel very blessed to do that, because we love rum. We really have a strong passion for rum, and to me this is such a wonderful and unique rum, and it was something that needed to be introduced here as well. One more beautiful expression of rum for people to, you enjoy your Appleton and you enjoy your Four Square and you enjoy your Botran and whatever it may be, but it's just good to have to taste different rums from around the world, and then you mold your palate. You're going to stick to what you like as your daily drinker possibly, but for us it's about introducing people to rums from around the world, and then you hone in your palate, and you take, in a weird way, in a liquid, you're tasting the history and the culture of different countries. Do you know what I mean?
Correct. Yeah. And so, and again, you just highlighted the point. There are rums from all around the world and have different nuances. But what's funny is when rums are compared to whiskey, the default for whiskey seems to be Scotch. So people compare rum to Scotch. But you highlighted about rums are made around the world, but whiskeys are made around the world as well. So Scotch is not the same as Irish. And Irish is not the same as American bourbon or rye. And American bourbon and rye is not the same as Canadian or even Japanese whiskeys. So they have their slight differences, in fact, big differences in some of the whiskey, in some of the whiskey profiles. Some are finished in sherry casks. Some will use new woods, some will use once used bourbon barrels. So there were different styles of whiskey. Within Scotland, you've got your Speyside, which are quite fruity and subtle, which is my favorite style of Scotch whiskey. But then you have your big peaty, robust, brine, salty Islers. Again, so if you're into your Arbegs and your Lafroigs, then that's your style of whiskey. But you get that with rum. So you have your big Jamaican rums as well. So with lots of flavor. And Appleton, as you know, is a blended rum that maybe is not as funky as rums coming out of Trelawney from like Hamden or Long Pond. So slight differences, even with the island of Jamaica, you get, but it's still big and heavy in flavor compared to, say, Barbados, which is a bit more lighter, medium-bodied, fruity, still got lots of wood if you're maybe going up north to Mount Gay or coming down south to Foursquare, which they blend and age their rum slightly different. And then you got other extremes. You go to St. Lucia. Now, St. Lucia, we know, is, depending on what rums you have in St. Lucia, can be really big and boisterous, whether it's like a Chairman's Reserve with some of those two pot stills, the Vendome or the John Doors inside there, mixed with their beautiful column still. Or it might be light, 100% column, but single column, what we call traditional column, like the Amarodney, which again is just one of the best rums on the planet. But that's just coming from one island, from one distillery in St. Lucia, and English Harbour in Antigua, the same thing. They come with a Sabal still, so they're producing something light, medium-bodied and fruity, but they're all different from each other. And as you said, it's about finding your niche, tasting it. I haven't found my niche yet because I drink too much rum. So, but yeah, finding your niche and then saying, yeah, I like that. But if any good quality rum will have, if you enjoy quality spirits, any good quality rum will be able to deliver a profile, a sensation, a satisfaction that you can then sip and savor and appreciate that. And that's what I'm hoping that people, when they start trying and taste Equiano, they're in that type of mindset. They appreciate good spirits. I think one of the roundabout compliment ways we got from a general consumer was they were like, wow, you know what? That rum is so sweet. It's just so easy to drink. And I was like, well, what do you mean sweet? Because there's no sugar added to it. These are the 100% all natural. And they're like, wow, it's just really sweet. And that's a testament to the blending skills of Richard at Foursquare, that he's got that natural sweet rum, which is what you get from a Barbados rum. Barbados rum, true Barbados rum, is sweet, but not sweetened. Now, there's some great rums that have been sweetened, but it's just that this one doesn't have to be.
And so that's when I talk to my customers. We have some barrels in the store.
Oh, nice.
I always point to the barrel. I said, you know, the sweetness that you're getting and the flavors that you're getting and the dry tobacco and the dark fruits, and it's all coming from the aging, the barrel. And with some use ex-bourbon, some use ex-cognac, some use, I think, with Foursquare exceptional cask selection, I think Détente is up next to arrive on island, and I think that is finished in export.
They have port cask, they have Madeira cask. Richard's got Calvados cask. He won't let me take a bottle home with me, but I tasted some of those. It's absolutely amazing. It's not ready for another 3 years, but it's got Calvados cask, Zinfandel wine cask. So he's got some great casks that he does what he likes to call second maturations, and it just takes that rum to a different level. As opposed to a finish. I know in whiskey they love to use the words finish, where they stick their whiskey in a barrel for maybe a couple of months just to get that little finish on the end of it. But as we know in the tropics, 6 months in the tropics is like a year and a half in the cooler climates over here in Europe. So it's not really a finish. You're maturing again, just a second maturation. But Richard's going like 6 years on that second maturation, 4 years on some of those maturations. So it's almost you're getting the base of your beautiful tasting rum, the American oak, once you've bourbon cask, and then you're like, right, now we've got you to that level. Now we're going to take you to another level where we're going to stick you inside a port cask or a sherry cask, and then send you to another level just to get that different flavor profile. So these are some of the things we want to do in the future with Equiano as well.
Awesome. So there are more offerings coming.
Yes. We actually have next year, because a lot of being a person that works in the industry of a lot of bartenders, a lot of bartenders have said, well, we like Equiano in cocktails, but will you ever do a lighter Equiano to use some of the lighter styles of cocktails? So the next Equiano we're producing, which should be ready in the next 4 months, tasted samples recently, will be a lighter version of Equiano. It's still a blend of rums from Foursquare and Mauritius, but instead of doing 2 molasses rums, we're doing a molasses rum and a fresh sugarcane juice rum blended together.
Serious?
Yeah, man. Yeah, there's
what?
Some of the samples here.
I always thought about that. Yeah, man.
We do that. So we did some tastings. We actually did a tasting last week of a few bartenders. It's like 3-year-old Foursquare, and then we blend some younger aged fresh sugarcane juice rums and unaged fresh sugarcane juice rums from Mauritius, just to give that little finish. So we didn't want it to be totally sugarcane juice like Martinique or Guadeloupe, the agriculture from there. We just want to get a little bit of that grassiness and that sugarcane note on the aroma and on the taste, on the finish. But what it does, gives a really nice earthy type of feel in this light rum. Color-wise, it's like a straw color. So we don't call it white, although a lot of people will, but it's a light. So we call it Equiano Light. 43% alcohol again, but that in a daiquiri, just 2 ounces of that, 1 ounce of fresh lime, half an ounce of sugar syrup. Give that a good shake and a twist of orange, and you've got a beautiful tasting Equiano Light daiquiri. So again, we wanted to have the blends of Mauritius, Barbados, Africa, and the Caribbean, but bringing something different to the table, we add a little bit of fresh sugarcane juice. And it is mainly for the entree. You will get some consumers who make cocktails at home, but it'll be for the hotels, the bars. I have a great friend called Jim Wrigley, who lives out in the Caymans, one of the great rum drinkers and trainers in the UK. He's moved out to the Caymans, so funny enough, sorry. Oh, bless me. I need a rum. He's one of the first people I went to see with a bottle of Equiano in January, when I was there in January. So we did a tasting with his staff. I can't remember the name of the hotel. I don't know if it's Fairmont or something like that.
Was that possibly Kimpton?
Oh, Kimpton, yeah, Kimpton's Kimpton Hotel.
Actually, you know what? He came by. He came and gave us
I sent him a message 2 days ago. I said, "Go see my boys. They've got it. Sean's got the rum."
Yeah, well, he has a lot of knowledge about rum.
He is absolutely. He's worked with me for Rum Fest for quite a few years here in London. So when he said he was moving out to the Caymans, I said, well, I've been invited out there to be part of the cookout, so I'm definitely going to come and see you. And I'll do a little masterclass for the staff. So we had all the staff in the hotel, and I did a rum training session with just loads of different rums, because I'm about promoting the category of rum. But yeah, so it was made for people like Jim that want to do some light cocktails or some light daiquiris where the rum still comes through and you're still getting that premium quality. It's not as one-dimensional as maybe, say, some of the lighter white rums that you might have out there. So that's coming out. You'll get some samples of that quite soon.
Excellent. Yeah, we've had definitely the mixologists, bartenders that when we posted the first post of Equiano online, they were like, yeah, we need some for our bar. We knew right away. They knew of your history with the bartending and the mixology. They knew, you know, these guys are doing their reading and their research on rum. So as soon as they saw it, they were like, what? You have, it's here? And then they were like, we need a bottle right away for our bar. And I think a lot of them are also intrigued that, as I said, the Equiano has this very unique taste. For me, I was blown away when I first sipped it, and I think they kind of know. And there's no added sugars. Yeah,
no additive, no nothing.
They want to get their hands on it and try it in a cocktail as well to see what they could do. So it is going to be amazing to get that light Equiano light and the other offerings that are coming. They're going to be totally excited to get their hands on that one.
Yeah, sure. As I said, it's a case of the timing was right, and because I work with a lot of distilleries, I'm very excited for the future of Equiano, because it means with myself and with Richard, we have access to a lot of good quality rums, not only just from Barbados, but from other parts of the world, and the African continent as well, where we can bring to Barbados, and we say to, and Richard and myself will say, right, okay, let's try something new, get a few thousand bottles of that, and then let people drink it and try it and have a different experience. You have that in whiskey. You have the Johnny Walkers of the world who make some great blends, some of the best liquids in the world, because they have access to some great single malt whiskeys in Scotland. Why can't we do that in rum, where we have access to some great rums from around the world and create some really good blends for people to sip, savor, and enjoy, whether you're the casual rum drinker, whether you're the serious connoisseur, or whether you're the mixologist and bartender, or more importantly, if you're a whiskey drinker or brandy drinker that wants to get into rums, then come and try a rum like Equiano.
Absolutely. And I know we don't want to take up too much more of your time. I know you're a busy man, but
I love talking about rum.
So the name, tell me about Mr. the Equiano, the person, and why the...
So again, that was another important part of the story, and another important part of why I decided to get involved in and get involved and do a rum. So Alauda Equiano was a person I'd learnt about in Saturday school, because it wasn't part of the school curriculum, because in school in the UK, they don't have Black history. They have it Black History Month, but you don't really learn about Black British history, let alone Black history, as part of the school curriculum. So I learnt about Alauda Equiano when I was very young, was amazed about just simple things that he did in a country where he was definitely in the minority, but at a time where people like himself as an African were seen as property as opposed to seen as a human being. So when he was enslaved, by the time he was 11, in Africa, he was brought over to Barbados. He was then taken to America and sold to a captain of a ship and brought to England. So his journey was Africa, Barbados, US, and the UK. And that is the same journey as our rum, the rum makes. Our rum starts off in Africa. It then travels to Barbados, where it's blended with Barbadian rum. And then from Barbados, it goes to America and it goes to the UK. So it's a more expensive way of doing that, of traveling. This is all done on ship. So at least our carbon footprint is quite low. But we wanted to tell a story in the journey of the rum, leaving Africa and going to Barbados and then ending up in the US and in the UK. Now, Alauda Equiano as a person, when he was in the UK, learned English at a very young age, was an entrepreneur in his mind. So if you give someone the chance to really express herself, they'll flourish. And that's what he did. Came back to the Caribbean after learning English. He was still fairly young, and he was offered the chance to buy his own freedom. He bought his own freedom for £40. That's about $50 US, which was a lot of money back then. It was about 2 years' wages, 2 years' wages. So he bought his own freedom by selling spices, selling rum, and trading in the Caribbean, and all the time learning about what it was like to be an African at that particular time. Yes, he was in a privileged position because he had earned that from respect, but he saw what was happening in the plantations. He saw the travesty of enslavement. He lived it, because he then came back to England and wrote a book and told the British people what it was like to be transported from Africa as an 11-year-old to the Caribbean, lying on top of each other like sardines in these slave boats, hearing women scream and crying because they're being abused or thrown off ship, things like that, into the sea to die in the Atlantic Ocean. So he told about the horrors of what it was like. And the world was shocked because a lot of people didn't know about it. They heard about it, but only heard one story. So he wrote this book. It became a 9-time bestseller. And because of him and influencing other people around him, whether they were abolitionists like himself, helped with the end of the transatlantic slavery, in culminating with the Transatlantic Slave Act of 1807, 10 years after he died, to change the world of how they saw it then and how we see it today. So I wanted to pay homage to Alauda Equiano. Also, when you look at these brands out there in the world, how many brands, international brands, focus on an African? None, really. In the US, you might have one whiskey I can think of, Uncle Nearest. Great whiskey. Make sure you have it. If you don't have Uncle Nearest, make sure you get it for the Cayman Islands. Great taste. He was the guy that taught Jack Daniels, the slave that taught Jack Daniels how to make whiskey.
Right.
So it's most awarded whiskey in America. And then you have a couple of other small brands, but nothing international. Why can't Alauda Equiano or Equiano be on the shelf next to Johnny Walker, next to Jack Daniels, next to Jim Beam, next to all the other names that we see on these shelves out there? Because they were instrumental in not only the rise of alcohol and spirits in the world, but also the rise and understanding of knowledge and enlightenment for how we think today. So that's the main reason why we called it Equiano, the world's first African and Caribbean rum, after one of the greatest African Caribbean people, Africans.
And what one word comes to mind after you give me that history of where your idea started from when you were a young kid and how this person inspired you? Just powerful. The brand is powerful. So keep pushing it. We're going to keep pushing it down here. It definitely needs to be on the shelf around the world with all of those other brands. It definitely is, well, as we say here, well deserving of that. Of that. So yeah, my powerful brand. You're a powerful guy. You're traveling the world representing rum. My wife and I, you don't have to big up the wife. She's the one that That's
Yeah,
all
yeah. She calling me at the event, and said, let's do some business. I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah, man.
I was sipping rum.
She's also what I say from the motherland, the fatherland. She's from Morocco, so she's from North
Wow,
Africa.
nice. Yes, that's
So
right. Yes.
when we go and travel to Morocco and you touch
Yes.
down, first time I touched down in Africa,
Yeah.
Coming from Cayman,
Yeah.
you fly in, you touch the soil, and
Same thing that I did when I landed first time. When I landed in Nigeria in 1996. First thing I did, touch the floor and kiss the floor.
It's a different vibration going on over there, bro.
It's a different energy. It's a different energy.
Different energy, man.
Vibe. Yeah,
Powerful.
vibe of the continent.
Yeah.
And the continent is so truly diverse continent because it is it's not as big as Asia, but it's definitely the second biggest continent. And it is, you mentioned Morocco. Morocco is a different culture from, say, the West Africa, which is more like Nigeria and Ghana and Gambia. And then you got the center of Africa. Then you got the south part of Africa. And then you got East Africa as well. And then you have the satellite islands that are part of Africa, like Seychelles and Reunion Island and Mauritius, of course, and Mozambique. Not Mozambique, Madagascar. Mozambique's part of the main. But then it encompasses so much different energies and culture there. And to think that most of those places were thousands of years ago were doing their own thing, and no one knew about them until a lot of it were exploited as such. So it's time to learn from that and actually empower ourselves and learn from them as well, which is great. Which is another reason why I love doing what we're doing, and also with Equiano, we have the foundation, Equiano Rum Foundation. So what that's doing again is working again with people in Africa, and we were working with people in the Caribbean. But it's almost, I would like to say giving back, but it's not giving back. It's almost like we're learning and we're using what we've learned to help them and empower them. So we've set up a foundation. 5% of all the profits that we make from the rum will go to this Equiano Foundation until we start making a profit, because we are still fairly new, less than 2 years old. We're donating $2 of every bottle sold from our website and £2 from every bottle we sell from our website. And that goes to our chosen charity. This year, our chosen charity is Anti-Slavery International, one of the oldest anti-slavery organizations in the world, started off in the 19th century. So we're partnering them. We'll be doing some events and some fundraising activities next year involving Equiano, just to raise money for that. And then that will be going to certain projects that are happening in Africa. And then we just assess and see how we can then develop that relationship over the world to help eradicate modern slavery, because we still see a lot of that today. So yeah, again, it's something we, as founders of the company, we wanted to consciously be aware of our environment and our surroundings. So happy to be involved in a project like this, and so happy that Equiano and Rum has helped me, given me a platform to do that. Yeah.
Amazing. Much respect.
Cheers, man. But much respect to you guys for contacting me and saying it's a shame we didn't have a drink of this when I was there in January, because that was the first time that the rum. I brought a bottle with me, and it didn't last long. We drank that after a couple of days, but I had to give little samples to everyone there. But good things come to those who wait. 10 months later, you guys have it. You guys have it, and
we love it.
And I'll be sending a load of people in there and say, yeah, you need some. Go to Kon Tiki. Go to Kon Tiki.
We get a lot of support through social media from Gail Seals. Gail,
definitely. Gail's our unofficial ambassador.
Yeah, she's always there. She likes the posts, and I think maybe part of some of their family might be here as well.
Yeah, they are. I had lunch. I had dinner with someone there. I actually invited them to the Cayman cookout. They weren't coming, but they came to the Rum Run Buster. And I had dinner at the lunch at the Marriott, I think it's Marriott Hotel or something like that. And when we were just talking and chatting, we found out they were cousins. They were family. Like, wow, the Seals.
A lot of Bayesian community here as well that have been coming in to support the brands, the Foursquare brands, the Bayesian rums. So yeah, it's the honor to represent and to be able to speak. Being able to have this time with you allows me to even more so be able to speak properly to the rum and tell people, I have a lot of passion and love for rum, but to speak to you and then be able to pass that on, it's like priceless for us. So yeah, thank you very much.
Live. Hopefully next year we'll go to it live soon. Do a live tasting session from. We can do it live and online from the shop.
Yeah, that would be amazing. And one more thing, you also you have your own. You do London Rum Fest, am I right?
Yeah. So back in 2005, when I was traveling around the Caribbean, I saw smaller rum events, and because I'd seen whiskey events and beer events and wine events, I said, why is there no international rum festival at all? I set my mind back then that I was going to create the world's first one. So back in 2007, London Rum Fest was the first international rum festival. And that then inspired and spawned all the rum festivals you see around the world, from Miami's to Germany, Berlin's, right across Europe. I even set up rum festivals in Mauritius, in Hong Kong, Poland. So I've worked with other owners or other people that were inspired by Rum Fest to create their own rum festivals, and again, that's just helped elevate the category of rum. So that's another part of rum history that I'm so proud of, to be the first to actually create an international rum festival. So next year, October, we celebrate our 15th year. So we're the longest running rum festival in the world, 15th year in London, and again, we use that as a platform to launch new rum brands, launch new rum expressions, get all the rum experts together under one roof to sip, savor, and sample and talk and lime, and a few thousand people from the UK and people that travel in as well come around there. But so I actually created my own, and still a big part of the Rum Fest movement, and the London Rum Festival, or the UK Rum Festival is what we call it. So if you are in London next year, October, I'm sure we'll talk many times between then. We'll have a little chat, and then we need to organize a Cayman Rum Fest. That's what we need to do.
Yeah, the place is waiting. We're waiting for it. We need it here.
I saw the love for rum in the Cayman Islands. Of course, the Jamaica connection is strong. So again, that's part of my history and heritage. So a rum festival or a rum event in Cayman Islands is definitely going to happen. It's 100% going to happen. We just have to wait for the world to be able to open up again, because it's important not only just for the locals to understand and really appreciate rum. It's also, I'd love to see Cayman Islands as an epicenter for Caribbean rums, especially for Americans and people that come to the Caribbean to come and land on the island. And it doesn't have to be just Jamaica or Barbados or Guyana. Even some of the other international brands are saying, you know what, from other parts of the world are saying, well, we need to be in Caymans because the tourists that they attract are international.
You know
what Caymans can be like the hub for that. Because there'll be no biasness, then it'd be great. Yeah.
You know what is that I love, starting to love now? I have some very close friends that I grew up with. They're half Bahamian, half Haitian.
Yes, wow.
They're from Belgrade, Florida. That's where the cane was back in the day, and you know that whole history. But these are my closest comrades. I went to school with them in the States for a little while. And from the beginning, we all just bonded, that kind of Caribbean link or whatever. We all played sports and everything. Once a year, we kind of always go back and meet up in Florida.
Nice.
Get together, and guess what? They brought me some of the Claren.
The Claren, wow.
I think it was the Sajou or S-A-J.
Yeah, Sajou. Yeah, Claren Sajou. Yeah.
And there we partying, we grilling, and they just gave me this Claren, and I was blown away by that flavor. So very interested in Haiti. What's going on in Haiti and stuff. So.
One of my favorite experiences drinking Claren is Claren fish, fresh fish. So Claren and fish are just made together, and a bit of citrus on the fish, or a bit of citrus in the Claren. It's just absolutely amazing. I was fortunate enough to be, I was in Haiti a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, with the guy that reintroduced the brand to the world, which is Luca Gargano. I was with Luca and Mr. Sajous. As well, and some of the other brand owners of the three that he brings out. It's absolutely amazing. And again, another style of rum that's local to that market. And again, appeals to a really, I say a niche, but also an acquired audience that like that earthiness. Almost like someone who's used to drinking tequila and all of a sudden they get introduced to mezcal. Claren for me is like the mezcal of rum. It's like natural earthiness, and you really get you understand what terroir is when you're tasting that natural fermentation, no water added, changes in the ABV each bottle, but really grassy and funky. And it's something that's nice. And as mixologists and bartenders, we'd also love to use that in various different types of cocktails as well. They're very proud of their local Clarens, and some made stuff coming out now from there, which is going to be very interesting.
I've been seeing that. So that's it. Is the culture? The culture is in their rum. But you know, it's crazy that it was hidden there for a little while, and now the world can try it as well. And then hopefully it brings back some stimulation to their economy, or bring some money into their economy, helps them out. And just I hear it's just a beautiful country.
It is all just all natural. It's just I mean, even when you're chasing fruit out there, it's just all organic. There's no pesticides, no nothing. It's just such a beautiful country. But you're right about bringing economy back. And helping stimulate the economy, because that's another reason why I love rum, especially from the Caribbean, because those rums are bringing money back to the local economy. Yes, there's some good whiskies out there and Scotch whiskies and French brandies, but that money is going. Most of that money is going to France and Scotland. It's not coming back to the Caribbean. So I love promoting Caribbean products or rums from the tropics as well. Because I can see the people behind the brands, I can see the people working the brands, and knowing that every bottle sold, that's money coming back to that economy.
That's it. Mr. Ian Burrell, thank you very much for your time. Much respect. Signing out from the Cayman Islands. You're in London town.
I'm jealous though. Because I wish after this I would be sitting down just having a little sip. I know it's early in the morning. It's like 10 to 2 here in the afternoon in London, and it's grey. I will be having a sip of rum because you got me in a rum mood now, and it's Friday, so I think I might have a little rum before happy hour.
All right. Well, I'll definitely sip on one today too in honor of you, and we will just keep it. The borders soon open up. The world will get back to normal. We'll be international again, and keep representing rums from all around the world. Just grow the category.
Well, as soon as they let in a tourist again, I'll be on the plane. I can quarantine inside a friend of mine's hotel for a couple of days. I have my certificate anyway to say, I had the tests and that. So I might be out there earlier than you think.
We know some people in the government too. We'll get you hooked up. Don't worry.
Perfect.
All right, brother. Much respect. I really appreciate it. The wife.
Keith, good seeing you again. Thank you for bringing the rum and thank you for joining the Equiano rum family. We're going to have some fun on this journey over the next few years.
Absolutely, we're looking forward to it.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right.
Take care again. Thanks.
All right. Be safe.
And big up Kon Tiki.
Blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
All right.